la Dorwador Hodia Emuna Kabebi Baby Kaste Yahuwah Olam Asher la Dorwador Hodia Emuna Kabebi
Adonai, 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 Adonai.
Yisrael, the Holy One of Yisrael. Blessed be His holy name. Yahovah, 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 Yahovah. Y'all repeat after me. Blessed be the Holy One of Israel, the Holy One of Israel. Blessed be His holy name. Blessed be the Holy One of Israel, the Holy One of Israel. Blessed be His holy name. Repeat after me. Yahovah, 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 Yahovah,
Hold on. Start it. Start it.
One more time. I just want to praise God, 'cause He gave me my life. I can't hear y'all. I just want to praise Your name. Say it again. I just want to praise Yah, 'cause He gave me my life. I just want to praise Your name, 'cause He blessed me in the morning, and the evening too. So I give Him honor and respect, that His name is due. And He watches over me, my friends and my family. He gave me food, clothing, and shelter, and everything I need. I just want to praise Yah, 'cause He gave me my life. I just want to praise Your name. One more time. I just want to praise Yah, 'cause He gave me my life. Said I just want to praise Your name. My senses touch these head and act. I don't know the words, but I'ma say it anyway. I just wanna praise Yah, 'cause He gave me my life. Said I just wanna praise Your name. Where there is peace, there is love. Where there is peace, there is love. All things come from Yahovah. All things come from Yahovah. Yisrael, la Yahovah, Odibari, Bin Yahovah. Can you tell the truth today?
Yeah.
Can you walk the righteous way? Can you help a brother that's down, way down in the ground? Then you're doing low. Can you do that which is right? Whether it be day or night. Can you put God's love in your heart? I know you better start. Then you're doing low. Can you who's to say where you're wrong, where the road is gonna lead you? Doing love today, make tomorrow what you want it to be.
Pay your time.
God pay your time,
Your stride.
stop your stride,
God can
Can you try and be a man?
do Yah's law.
You God's Lord, I know you can.
Can you put God's law in your heart?
Can you put God's law in your heart? I know you better. Can you do that which is right? Whether it be day or night.
Put God's law.
Can you put God's law in your heart? I know you better start. Then you're doing low.
Give me a quick Yehovah. Give me a quick Yehovah. No, you got to start it.
Ellie was told he is not supposed to do that solo until he learns how to do it.
You told him that?
I told him that.
All right.
So he's practicing. So next time y'all see him do the solo, that means he'll be doing it right.
All right, so the next man step up.
Slow down, slow down.
You can play it that fast? You can play it that fast?
Hey, he, you got this?
All right, here we go.
Yahovah. Yahovah.
that bass. Pump that bass. Pump that bass. Come on. Hey, that bass. Pump that bass. Pump that bass. Come on. Pump that bass. Ready? Damn. Yeah. Amen. Blessed be Yahuwah King. Thank you, the Most High King. May be seated. All right now. You almost there, Heath. You almost there. Thank you, the Most High God, that we know that at least in the department of drumming and praising, that this thing is being passed down correctly. I'm thankful to the Creator that we could praise Him and we could uplift His name and we could do the things that are necessary for us to uplift Him and praise His name. So without any further ado, I'm going to call up my brother Samal Zaccar to begin the afternoon. Hallelujah.
First and foremost, just want to offer all honors, praises, respect, acknowledgement, and thanks unto the great King of the universe, to the God of our fathers, to the God of Abraham, the God of Yitzchak, and the God of Yaakov, thanking Him for all things and everything. I bid you in the tongue of our forefathers. Shabbat Shalom L'Kol. How's everybody feeling? That's what I'm talking about. All right. So, we're going to go through the current events. I'm going to go through the current events, and I believe we have afternoon. I think we're doing question and answer. So, if y'all could get your questions ready. Really? When she stepped on my shoes, scuffed my shoes. D.C.B owe me another pair of shoes. So y'all just gotta heckle me up here? Man, oh man. You right. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, one of the biggest reasons that we sat and discussed and chose to do current events is because, can you let all them young dudes know that there's seats in service? Right. Seats in service. One of the reasons that we chose to do current events is because current events allows us to look at the world and what God is doing in the world, and by understanding God, it allows us to be able to understand the things that are going on in the world today. One of the things that we as a people really need to start to get in the habit of is we need to get in the habit of learning to get wisdom from watching what's around us rather than learning our lessons from taking bumps and bruises. And So we really need to gain the wisdom by the things that the Most High God is showing us. So the first piece of current events that I want to talk about is Simone Biles. Everybody know Simone Biles?
Yes.
All right. Simone Biles came on the scene, what, about 4 years ago when she racked up at the Olympics. I didn't know who she was. All I knew was I was listening to the news, and they said, yeah, Simone Biles racked up this many gold medals, and I was thinking, Simone Biles is black. I ain't need to see her. I just knew by the name Simone, she was black. Simone Biles. The 4 foot 8 inch gymnast just won her 5th all-around world title, demolishing the competition Thursday in Germany. In doing so, she also crushed 2 of her own records, the biggest margin of victory ever at a world championship, and the most world medals won by a female gymnast, 22 and counting. The reason that I wanted to talk about Simone Biles is because for those of us who don't know what Simone Biles went through, Simone Biles was one of the hundreds of victims of Larry Nassar, where Larry Nassar went and sexually abused hundreds of victims. Simone Biles was one of them. And to see, a lot of times that type of behavior, I heard Chief Nav talking earlier on today about how we need to protect our children. That type of behavior, we don't know the effect that type of behavior is going to have on the victim or the person who it's perpetrated against. Simone Biles, even though if you hear her talk about it, when she starts to talk about it, she most times sheds a tear. A lot of times many, when she discusses her ordeal and what she went through. But Simone Biles also took a part of that and allowed it to make her become stronger. And that's what I want us to take from this particular story. It happened. She's still dealing with it. But she's being stronger because of it. It's not her fault. It happened. And now she's dealing with it and becoming stronger because of it. I appreciate everyone's endless support, she wrote on Twitter, followed by a heart emoji. Appropriately, our people, she ended her ridiculously difficult floor routine with a mic drop.
Yeah.
That means she did what she did, and she knew it was hot when she did it. Came back, dropped the mic. Because that's what we do. That's what we do. That's the flair that comes with us. What should we take from that? Be strong. Later this week, 5 of the gang members in the Junior Guzman murder were all sentenced to over 20 years in prison. Anybody unfamiliar with the Junior Guzman murder? This is where these 14 gang members chased him. He went into the bodega, they tossed him back. No, not in here. Dragged him out, chopped him up. First 5, all sentenced to over 20 years, including the youngest, who was 15 or 16 at the time. What do we take from that? What do we take from that? I was about to start drumming, but what do we take from that? Be smart. don't hang around the wrong people. Because inevitably, hear me, inevitably, hanging around the wrong people will get you in trouble. Hear me. Hanging around the wrong people will get you in trouble. One of the archives from my brother Chief Saw, who he sent to me, HIV positive former high school coach pleads guilty to sexually abusing 42 boys. HIV positive. Your life is ruined. And now you choose to ruin the life of 42 other innocent children. What do we take from that? Be careful. So I'm going to divert a bit, and I'm just going to say, so here at D.C.B, one of the things that we're looking to do is we're looking to make a concerted effort to continue to teach, promote, and live Torah. Torah by default, no, excuse me, let me back up. We're looking to teach Torah in a manner that unites us as Israel and not divides us. However, because we're also looking to make that concerted effort to teach Torah, we need to understand that many times Torah often naturally separates good from evil. Am I right or wrong? So with Torah naturally separating good from evil, a lot of the times our teachings may be considered divisive. Does that make sense? It's a hard call. Because a lot of times when we teach Torah, and a lot of times when we take some of the stances that we take, people don't understand that the stance that we're taking is not intended to divide people, but it's intended to bring us closer to God. And sometimes you getting closer to God means a separation from certain people and certain things. And that's something that I think that we all should consider. Because many times it becomes difficult for us to tell a difference. One of the things that we're also looking to do is, got a phone call this week, and this is something that we were already discussing, and we kind of came to an agreement on, and we intend to continue the discussion that we came from, us, people around my age, late 30s, mid to late 30s. All right, no, fast just passed, right? Somebody said, all right there, like, cut it out. We came from, we grew up in an environment where just using this platform to lambaste and bash was a norm. For us, we're learning to get away from that. We're making a concerted effort to get away from that. What should be understood is, just because we teach Torah and someone's actions may be not in accordance with Torah, that doesn't mean that we're bashing a particular person. That just means that we're teaching Torah. Also, a subtle difference between the two. But we are looking to reach out and speak to people on things individually, rather than take the approach of taking a person and making a public spectacle of a person. So we're looking to grow. We're looking to mature. Right? Y'all with me so far? Okay. So, one of the biggest reasons, I need to touch on politics for a minute, because one of the biggest reasons why I feel like politics is important is because we, as a people, we need to learn how to run a nation. We have Torah, but we need to learn how to run a nation. And the best way to learn how to run a nation is to look at people who actually run nations. Y'all with me so far? All right. So, right now, the biggest thing in the country right now is what? Somebody want to tell me? Biggest thing in impeachment. This impeachment inquiry is the biggest thing in the country right now. Right? So, one of y'all want to tell me what impeachment is? He raised his hands quick. Go ahead, I'm listening. Stand up and tell us what impeachment is.
Alright, so impeachment is when a president, like the governor decides to make the president not president anymore.
Okay. His answer was the governors or the legislators, which is what I think you meant, decide to make the president not president anymore. Anybody want to add anything to that? Right? Yeah, I'm listening. He said what? Oh, that's it. Okay. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. My man. Question and answer period coming later. You're cutting into my 20 minutes, but go ahead. I'm listening. You got to stand up, though. What's up?
So can the governor decide that and actually do that?
Okay, so the basic the process for impeachment in a very short condensed version is impeachment is when you bring charges, when Congress brings physical charges against the President of the United States. That's what impeachment is. So it's not necessarily the removal yet, but it's when Congress brings charges against the President. So now, 2 presidents in the whole line of the United States have been impeached. Anybody want to tell me who they are? Nixon.
And Clinton.
Donald Trump. We hope. We hope Donald Trump, but not yet. But yes, Rich. She already gave the answer. You just gonna take her answer? I said 2 presidents in the United States have been impeached, and she said 2 names. You trying to make me look bad up here? Yeah, I'm listening. Nixon was definitely impeached. And what happened with Nixon was Nixon knew we're in trouble now. So Nixon quit. Clinton wrote it out. Andrew Johnson, I think he was brought up on charges, but I don't believe it was impeachment charges. However, we will research that. But, 2 in a possum. For all y'all spades lovers, that's what we are. 2 in a possum. All right. So now, but the reason that I bring up this impeachment inquiry is because the president, Mr. Trump, has gone on record to say things like, I'm not sending anybody to your impeachment inquiry, and these subpoenas that you're sending out, a subpoena asking for people to come to court, we're not respecting any of that. So now, there's this legal fight on whether or not the president has the authority to ignore congressional subpoenas, and also, which I'm going to kind of bring into, tie back into Israel, is when you ignore the legislative or congressional subpoenas, what happens is you begin the process of invalidating the Constitution of the United States, which the country is supposed to be run by. Y'all with me so far? Yes. So now, let's talk about that for a minute. Not the invalidating the Constitution of the United States part, but just to talk about the part about, so can Israelites ignore subpoenas when they subpoenaed to come to something like that?
No.
Negative. Israelites can't do that.
No.
If Moses said, you need to come up, you need to come up. Am I right or wrong? Okay, so now, there's two fundamental issues that kind of go along with that, right? One, the first issue is you can't just, at your own, decide whether you want to answer questions or not. That's the first part, right? The second part of it is, if you've done nothing wrong, why wouldn't you go? Right? Does that make sense? If I've done nothing wrong and people have accused me of doing something, then the first thing that I would want to go and do is answer any questions anybody had, because I want to make sure my name is clear. Y'all with me so far? If somebody said, I saw Zaccar at McDonald's, thank you, baby. Uh-oh, we got a correction, which I'm going to have to say up here, so I'm going to say that in a minute. If somebody said they saw Zaccar in McDonald's eating the beef bacon burger, that was the Beyond Burger, but no beef, but it was bacon, I'm going to want to be the first one to go up there and say, that wasn't me. Because the natural reaction for someone is to want to clear their name for something that they didn't do. And the other part of it is, I lost my train of thought. So now let me go into this correction. So, as much as I hate this, so Tyre was right. We'll discuss all the rest later. Trying to show me up here. But Tyre was right. Andrew Johnson was impeached. Nixon was not considered being impeached because Nixon sort of right on the wall, and Nixon quit. So he wasn't considered impeached. So I stand corrected. Andrew Johnson, don't look, yo, don't give me that look. Don't give me that look. Matter of fact, go to the car. Go to the car. Finishing up. So, like I said, it would stand to reason that for us, if you want to clear yourself, go, stand up, clear yourself. Right. Someone made this quote, and I thought that the quote was very important. They said, the part of unlearning a behavior is understanding the psychology behind it. Just something for us to think about. And the last thing that I'm just going to touch on, which doesn't really have anything to do with current events, is so what we've been looking to do is we've been looking to develop a new way of kind of conducting the Hebrew class with the children. So now we're trying to we come from an age where you wrote down everything and the teacher write on the board and you just write on the chalkboard, and I know children now have smart boards and all this different technology. So we're trying to incorporate the new tools that the children that are being used to teach children now into how we teach them with the Shabbat school and the Hebrew class. So there's a couple of things that we need your participation on. Right. So first thing is that it's going to be based on the Hebrew reading for the upcoming week, which you know how we come up here and we have somebody read one and they read 3 verses, and somebody can read Shani and they read 3 verses. So what we're really going to need for y'all to do is parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, we're really going to need y'all to take a little bit of time to invest in the little ones to make sure that they read the portion, so that when Moreh Arania does the Torah class, the Hebrew class, that they can participate and that they can be well prepared. It's important for us to follow up with them Just like how we do in school and make sure we check their homework and all those different things, it's important for us to follow up with them on this too. Questions, issue? Yes, sir.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Just to follow up with this, the reason why this is happening is because
What's happening?
what you're talking about with trying to develop new ways that we can get through to the children for understanding. If we don't take a proactive stance with this, our children are going to not know the law. And it's important for all of us as a community to make sure that we are teaching our children. And so we need the help of the parents, everybody. If you don't know, try to learn, try to get somebody in your family that knows, ask for help. That's why we're here. That's it.
So, okay. And so, can we get a commitment that we will follow up with the children? I don't want to start calling out names, but I will. Can we get a commitment? I will. Can we get a commitment from the adults and the parents that we will follow up with the children with the Hebrew reading for each week? Can I get an amen? I get some amens. So now, for y'all, listen. Y'all have, in addition to y'all parents, y'all have myself. I'm willing to assist. You have Maury Arani as the teacher, so y'all gonna see him anyway. Y'all have Morey Yiftach. Y'all have Chief Meku. Y'all have Chief Binyamin, who I know always has the mean face on, but once you soften him up, he's actually still mean, but he will help you. He will help you. We have a certain elder who's going to remain nameless because she gets mad at me when I say her name, but she's willing to help too. So listen, there's plenty of resources here. If I missed anybody, please forgive me. We got Dawid for the time that he's here. Listen, we're here to assist. We're here to assist. And we'll help y'all in any way that we can. So again, it's going to be the reading, and then there's going to be the homework. Nah, it's going to be, it should be a total of 21 verses. For Bereshit, it's going to be a total of 21 verses. And so the way it's set up is you're going to read those verses, and you're going to get vocabulary words, and Maury Arania will go through it to explain certain concepts as it relates to biblical Hebrew, but you'll get vocabulary words, you'll get all of that. And by the end of this, if y'all don't know how to speak and read well, that means y'all wasn't paying attention. Y'all wasn't doing the homework. I'm just saying. We good? I hear that you reading in a couple of weeks. That true?
Sister King?
I ain't say no names, but the person who I'm talking to know who I'm talking to. Right? Couple of weeks. You had like 3 months preparation, as I understand. You asked for this portion back in Leviticus. To finish out we're going to go into the question and answer period. We're going to call up Chief Binyamin. Baruch haba.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. May be seated. Once again, giving praise and honor to Yehovah our God and thanking him for life and the opportunity to call upon his name on this day and asking that he would continue to guide us, protect us. And at this time, if anybody here or online has any questions that they want to ask, they may do so at this time, and we'll do our best and pray that the Most High God will answer us, help us in answering these questions.
I don't know if anyone else heard, but there was this little kid about 7 years old, set his family's house on fire and killed about 4 or 5 family members. He's only about, I think, maybe 8 or 9. He might even be 7. But they said he liked to play with lighters and make fire and stuff like that. But he set the house on fire and he killed his grandmother, his mother's fiance, 2 other little cousins and everything. and they're kind of debating what to do about him because they say he's too young to be punished in any kind of way. And I just want to know, because I think that if it was one of us, they'd find a way to punish him well. So I just want to know, like in your opinion, what do you think should be done with him? And he's that young. The mother says he should be forgiven. Everybody makes mistakes. But the aunt who lost the baby says he needs to go to juvie until he's old enough to go straight to prison. So I just want to know, is that too harsh or is that right?
With that case in particular, and for those that didn't hear, the question was about a 7-year-old that is responsible for a house fire. It's a house fire, right? House fire that killed family members. So in terms of the law, everything in that case would have to come out in terms of what exactly, was the child doing that started the fire, et cetera, et cetera. And then, but if it's determined that negligence on the child's part, for the most part, the child is responsible for lives. So regardless of, I'm not going to say regardless of age. In a lot of cases, it would be regardless of age, but then you still have to determine a lot, especially, 7 is very young, but then the other side is there's people that are dead, and that blood has to be accounted for. So in terms of Torah, it's life for life. As we know, let of the Lord, life for life. But a lot would have to be taken into consideration before we just jump to the answer.
Even if, like you said, the child's between 7 and 9, and if he has a history of playing with fire and starting fires, should there be some kind of neglect on the parents' part because they knew that this child had this problem or these issues and he should have gotten help. So parents should also be accountable for whatever the lives of these people.
It's like with with being turned to with the Exodus 21, and these are not directly related laws to that case, but just to bring some things into consideration. Exodus chapter 31, verse 35. And if one man's ox hurts another so that it dies, then they shall sell the live ox and divide the price of it, and the dead also they shall divide. Or if it be known that the ox was wont to go in time past, and its owner have not kept it in, he shall surely pay ox for ox, and the dead beast shall be his. So that's in the case of an ox hurting another ox, and past history always comes into play with law. Concerning fire, Exodus chapter 22, verse 5, if fire breaks out and the catching thorn, so that the shocks of corn, or the standing corn, or the field are consumed, he that kindled the fire shall surely make restitution. So restitution in the case of a life would be a life. So if someone causes a fire, whatever damage that the fire causes, whoever started the fire would have to make restitution on that situation. That's just, not directly rated laws, but these are things that will be taken into consideration with coming up with a judgment in that case. Shabbat Shalom.
Wouldn't that fall more so under the law of if a fellow is chopping wood and the axe handle flies out because it's an accident? He didn't intentionally set the fire to kill the people, so he still has to fall under that. If some people die, but he should have the chance to, flee to whatever that city may be that we actually have right now. So what happens in that case?
Okay, so the point that's being brought up is that there was no intent to kill people. So the question is, would it fall under the laws concerning the city of refuge where there's an accident that took place, so to speak? That could also be taken into consideration. The thing is, we know fires to be deadly. There's a difference between going, like you mentioned, going in the forest, you're chopping out wood, you're doing a job, and the axe handle flies off. There's a difference between that because you didn't intend to, in that case, you didn't intend to kill the person, but what you were doing technically was not a dangerous thing. Lighting fires is dangerous. Just playing with fire is dangerous. That's why, we tell, you would quicker tell somebody don't play with fire as opposed to telling somebody don't chop down wood in the tree. I mean, don't chop down trees in forests. Because we know fires, no matter what, is going to be dangerous. So they would technically fall under two different categories because fire is just dangerous. Even though there was no intent with starting the fire that would kill people, but we know fires have that innate danger anyway, that you don't want that to happen, period. Where the other one was just a job and there was an accident happening on the job. So that's what would separate the two. But it would be something that would be taken into consideration. But technically the two are different. So there would be laws, so it's, the case you brought up, there, judges would have to look into that. Talk about it, like if it was, like you mentioned in Israel, Israelite judges would look into that, see what the pattern may be. Like you mentioned, he's been known to play with fire, which would ought to be a detriment on him, the fact that he's been playing with fire. Like I mentioned, the parents knew that he was a fire starter. But the only thing is, not that it can't happen in Israel, but it's rare that someone else other than the person that caused the life to be taken would be also punished to that same extent. Not saying that the parents would be absolved completely, but the parents most likely would not be put to death for something that their child did, even if they knew that their child was used to doing something. It's usually the person that spills the blood or causes that blood to be spilled that is held responsible for the blood being spilled, as opposed to somebody else. Because you have a lot of cases where you just bag up everybody because they allowed certain stuff to happen. But it's usually the one directly responsible. That's where the first line of judgment goes.
There's a question online saying, will we ever be clean over here since we don't have the water of purification?
So the question of will we ever be clean here or captivity in the diaspora since we don't have the waters of purification? We would never be clean from the dead because we don't have the waters of purification. We could become clean from other type of uncleannesses that require bathing and being unclean until the evening, and then when the evening comes in, then you become clean. But in terms of becoming clean from the dead, because we don't have the waters of purification, we would not be able to become clean from that type of uncleanness over here.
So it's best not to vote. I have two questions. Is it best to vote or not to vote? And also, let's say someone wants to study to become a doctor, get into the pharmaceutical business, being an Israelite. How can I go about doing so without being an Israelite?
Okay, for the first question was, are we allowed to vote? Voting would be a personal choice. There would be nothing in Torah that would sway one way or the other. People would give opinions on voting, but there's nothing really based on Torah to say yes or no. People that are against voting would point to not putting a foreigner over you, but that's in terms of putting a king. But that's as far as that command goes in terms of like us, functioning as a nation. We're not allowed to put a foreigner over us to govern our nation. That's the closest and that's for those that are opposed to voting. But voting would be a choice either way. Now, in terms of getting the job as a doctor, nurse, in the medical field, period, that's also a choice, and there's nothing anti-Torah about those type of jobs. Those jobs have been in existence ever since. So I don't know if it's related to the other question, yeah, then a doctor, nurse, or someone in the medical field would not be able to become clean once they come in contact with a dead body, but that shouldn't stop someone from pursuing a medical career, because that's something that this nation and all nations need, and always have needed. People to take care of people because that's one thing that many of us unfortunately have to look forward to, becoming sick. And that's what that profession is there to help us to become better. Except for the pharmaceutical business, because their business is to make money, so their business is to make sure that we stay sick. So they can make money. But other than that, doctors, nurses, everybody else is supposed to be healers. I heard something. I hope nobody got offended by. But that's what pharmaceutical companies do. They keep us sick. More people die off of the medications that they're given than anything else. There's a report that just came out, and just to fulfill, I don't know if Zaccar is still around, just to fulfill my current event quota for the year. There's a report that just came out that linked dementia to pharmaceuticals. That they noticed that people as they get older, those that have been diagnosed with dementia, they check their history of the medicines they've been given throughout their life for anything. And pharmaceuticals have been linked to dementia. So that fulfilled my current events quota for the rest of the Hebrew year. Does anybody else have any questions here or online? Not because the person's tapping you and that's to ask those questions. So I just fulfill my current events quota for the rest of the Hebrew calendar year. Okay, get a guess. Oh, really? Yes. Not good. Oh, tired? All right. So now in terms of massage therapy, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that profession. The question will come into play in terms of gender. Whether, in terms of gender, that's the only thing that will come into play. But just the profession itself, there's nothing wrong with that profession. When I say gender, in terms of, people would not be comfortable with, like a man, just to give an example, a man may not be comfortable with his wife giving massage therapy to another man. Just to give an example. But in terms of the profession itself, there would be nothing wrong with it. Do you have any other questions?
I have a question. Going back to that same case of the young man. And you mentioned about a life for a life. When you look in Leviticus chapter 4, and it talks about the sin offering that's given, it's the unintentional sin. Is the reason why you're saying that in this case it's a life for life because you're not able to make sin offering, or because that's the prescribed punishment for that?
Yeah, that would be life for life would be a prescribed punishment. Offerings for unintentional sins would be sins that are not related to a life being taken. Because, we read about a lot of commandments that do not have a judgment. So sin offerings will come into play for those type of situations. But that's, for like, say somebody straight out murder somebody, there's no offering that they can give.
But it doesn't say that. It says unintentional. If an individual person from among the people of the land shall sin unintentionally by committing one of the commandments of Yahuwah that may not be done, and he becomes guilty. So
right.
Isn't that one of the commandments that's not to be done, and he became guilty and was... In other words, he didn't say, I hate you, and I'm going to set this fire to kill you tonight. He set a fire for whatever his, oh wow, the fire. And obviously they allow him to be near matches because he don't go right in with matches, right? It's not safeguarding, knowing that you, just like how you're supposed to build a fence, right? Do all those things that's supposed to protect life. So now here's someone who's not intentionally looking to say, I'm gonna murder my family tonight. I just want to set a fire. So that's clearly an unintentional sin in my estimation, based on what we're reading here, violating one of the commandments of the Most High that shall not be done. So isn't the whole thing about murder that it's about the intention? That's what makes it be a life for a life?
Murder would be the intent, but the person that also, like you mentioned earlier, the person that goes to the forest chops, that's unintentional, and they would not be able to give that offering. Their judgment is you have to go to the city of refuge. Right. So stuff where life is involved, those judgments will be clear cut. Now, what you're reading here is for the sins that, the various commandments that are written that are not clear cut. But then a priest would determine that a person would have to give an offering based on that sin. Because, even with the offerings, a person can't take it upon himself to say, I sinned, let me bring up an offering. Priest would have to know exactly what you're bringing an offering for, to determine whether you should be bringing an offering for that sin or whether some other type of judgment has to be presented. People don't just bring up animals without talk to the priest. Because the priest's job is, priest's life is also on the line, because they have to do the right thing also. So they have to make sure that if someone's bringing a sin offering, they have to know what that sin is. A person can't just say, I'm bringing a sin offering, I'm not telling you what that sin is. Because the priest's life is on the line. So there has to be a determination for what offerings will be allowed for what sins.
Yeah. There's a question online, going back to the boy saying, if he's paromanic, if he can't control the impulses without help from a therapy and medication, should he still be going to jail?
Let's say that again.
Which question are you reading? Which one? This one? All right. If he's a pyromaniac, he can't control the impulses without help from therapy and medication. That's not a question. Yeah. Or just ask the rabbi about my comment. If he's a pyromaniac, he can't control the impulses without help from therapy and medication.
Right. But the person, before we even hold the parents accountable for what the child does, the child still has, it has to be determined what accountability the child has first. Right.
Right, and if they put parents in jail because their kids don't go to school, how come they don't want anything to happen to him? I'm not saying kill him, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying he needs to know that what he did,
he'll know.
He's not a get out of jail free card because he's sinning, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because if they let him go with this, who knows what he's going to do later?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, like the parents wouldn't, you have to determine the punishment for the child first and then deal with the parents later on. It's like with the, I'll read the other one, it's also in Exodus 21. Because this is dealing with not just an ox going under the ox, but an ox going under a person. So if an ox go a man or a woman that they die, the ox shall be surely stoned, and its flesh shall not be eaten, but the owner of the ox shall be quit. But if the ox was wont to go in time past, and warning have been given to his owner, and he have not kept it in, but it have killed a man or a woman, the ox shall be stoned, and his owner also shall be put to death. If there be laid on him a ransom, then he shall give for the redemption of his life whatsoever is laid upon him. Whether they have got a son or have got a daughter, according to this judgment shall it be done to him. And then it gives also, if an ox go a bondman or a bondwoman, he shall give unto their master 30 shekels of silver, and the ox shall be stoned. So the ox is going to get put to death regardless, because the ox is the one that took the life. You know, just relating the law of the ox to the 7-year-old child, but this child has to, be held accountable for the action first. Then you deal with those around, like in this case, in the ox, and then those around the child to determine what liability is on them. And even in the case with the ox, the person that didn't keep the ox in could pay for their own life so that they don't get put to death. But the ox is going to be put to death, period. So with the time to the child, if the determination that the child is going to be put to death because of what the action that the child did, the child is going to be put to death, and then everybody else, they'll have to determine what punishment will be done for their liability in that case. It depends on the circumstance. Like, I'm just hearing about this case now, but it depends on the circumstances around the case that led up to that particular fire. You know, things such as the child playing with fire in the past and stuff like that, that could come into play. But the circumstances that led up to that particular fire would have to be determined before judgment is made.
So this is a child that's already known to play with fire?
Yeah.
Not something that happened for the first time.
No, that's what you get. That's what she was saying. Like, the child has been known to be playing with fire, and this time the fire that was set killed a few family members. 5 family members. So the question was, what would happen to the child? And then the question was brought up, well, what happened to the parents of the child, because the parents knew that this child liked to play with fire. So, but the circumstance of that particular fire would have to be taken into consideration first, and then you could bring in the history afterwards. So once again, thanking everybody for their time, their patience, their questions, and hopefully everything was answered properly. But questions like that, you know, we'll give more thought and consideration so we can actually hear everything out and then give a proper answer. So once again, thanking everybody for their time once again, and thanking the Most High God for our lives. Call up Chief Museum.
This time we're going to close out with the words that the Most High God gave unto Moshe to give unto our Haron and his sons to bless the children of Yisrael, hoping and praying that on the conclusion of this day that the Most High God will grant us all a blessing. Wadaber Yehoah el Moshe lemor, ber el Haron we el benal lemor, ko tebarku et bnei Yisrael amor lahem. And Yehoah spoke unto Moshe, saying, speak unto our Haron and unto his sons, saying, on this wise ye shall bless the children of Yisrael. Ye shall say unto them, Yivareka Yehovah Yishmareka, Yair Yehovah Panawaleka Wikuneka, Yisa Yehovah Panawaleka wa Yasem Laka Shalom. May Yehovah bless thee and keep thee. May Yehovah make his face to shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. May Yehovah lift up his countenance upon thee and may he grant thee peace. Hallelujah. 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 Bekwacho. Hallelujah. Berkuyauso. Hallelujah, before time. Hallelujah, Erogodo. Hallelujah, Betekwa, Shofar. Hallelujah, Benevel Wetino. Hallelujah, better Marco. Hallelujah, everywhere you go. Hallelujah, better Tale Shama. Hallelujah. Blessed be, please be seated for announcement.
So somebody just kind of threw an idea at me, so we'll kind of throw this out there. So, how about, before the kids go, can you grab all?
Kids, come back. All the kids. You giving them money? $20 a piece? Look like Samal Zaccar giving the kids money. He pulled money out of his pocket.
Run up on me at the light. So, folks, you said for adults too? So, how about this conversation that we just had, how about as just a small piece of homework, we have people give 3 reasons why the kid should be put to death, and what 3 reasons why they shouldn't? With Torah reference.
3 reasons why the child, the pyromaniac, should be put to death with Torah explanations, or 3 reasons why he should not be put to death with Torah explanation.
I actually said an essay, but he said
Essay. Essay, 3 reasons.
3 reasons.
And the one who gives the best explanation, you're going to give them that money?
The one who gives the best explanation, see Chief Elquana.
See Chief Elquana. All right. Donation to the people online that would like to donate. You can make your hold on, keep it down, keep it down. You can make your donations to D.C.B. What's his address again? 324 Hamilton Avenue. 382 Hamilton Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. 11231. That's for anybody who would like to donate. D.C.B. 382 Hamilton Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. 11231. And also you could donate on PayPal, info@DCB.org. info@DCB.org. You can also donate on our website, www.DCB.org. Could donate there. Also on the super chat, right at the bottom of the chat on YouTube, you press the $sign and you make your donations that way. More Arania made his donation, right? Yeah. Give it to Chief Elquana so he could write it down. Who else donated up there? I know, I seen that. Zipporah or something like that. What? Who? TS what? Sadiqa? Willis? Thank you for your donation. Who else? And Terry Johnson. Miss Terry Johnson, thank you for your donation. So is there any birthdays? Is there anyone? Arania? Arania. Oh, he ready. You ready? Somebody got to play drums for him so he could dance. Where everybody at? Yes, we having services tomorrow night. We supposed to build a booth tonight or tomorrow morning. So we're going to build a booth right here like we did last year. And we will be having evening services tomorrow. We ask that those who come out will bring a small pan of food. And on Monday, we're starting at our usual time, 11:30, for the feast. Remember, have the food here by 1. We want the food here at least by 1. So that everybody out there, we want the food here at least by 1, what's that, p.m. All right? All right, Morey Iranian, yes. Coat drive tomorrow. Oh, how can I forget that? Coat drive tomorrow, the 13th. From what time to what time? I believe it's from what time? Where's Prince Zeriel at? Chief Prince Zeriel. Or Brother Israel. I believe the coat drive is from like 12 or 11 or something like that.
Coat drive?
Yeah.
From 11 a.m. to 5 p.m.
11 a.m. to 5 p.m. We'll be here giving our coats, or receiving coats, right? Receiving coats to give them away. Yes.
No, we already received the stuff. We just giving it away.
Y'all got a lot of coats and stuff?
I mean, if they got a coat at home and they want to bring it, they can bring it.
All right. It was your brother's birthday? I think your brother's somewhere over here. Here we go, Morey Aranya. You ready? Y'all not gonna play, it's your Abba and your uncle. Y'all gonna play. Yo mule de tameya. Yo mule de tameya. Yo mule de tameya. Yo mule de tameya. Break it down. Yo mule de tameya. Yo mule de tameya. Yo mule de tameya. Yo mule de tameya. Yo mule de. Oh, Israel? All right, Israel. Yo mule de tameya. Yo mule de tameya. Yo mule de tameya. Yo mule de tameya. Yeah, he dancing. Yo What happened now and what y'all did at the when we started second half?
No, you had the baby, so that's why.
Any other announcements? Who else donated? Hey, who? Scoots Levy, thank you for your donation. All right, donations and obligations for the nation. See Chief Elquana. And brothers, don't run away. You got to get your raffle tickets.